It all began when my wife suggested we go to therapy. At that time, I actually thought it was a good idea. We had been married for almost 10 years, and though things weren't terrible, I could feel the distance growing. Conversations became short. Intimacy was fading, and arguments, though small, seemed to linger longer than they should. I thought therapy could give us tools to fix things. What I didn't realize was that the very person she trusted to help us was going to plant the seed that destroyed everything. Her therapist was a woman in her mid-40s, recently divorced. My wife described her as strong, independent, and empowering. I didn't think much of it at first. After all, a therapist is supposed to help you regain perspective, right? At the beginning, the advice sounded reasonable. Things like, make sure you don't lose your individuality in marriage, or spend time on your hobbies, not just family duties. Fine, I could agree with that. But then, it started to shift. One evening, my wife came home from her session with a strange look on her face, almost guilty, almost excited. After dinner, she said, "My therapist told me that sometimes marriages are stronger if they're slightly open." I laughed at first. I thought she was joking. "What does slightly open even mean?" I asked. She looked down at her food, fidgeting. "It just means maybe taking the pressure off each other, exploring a little. Some couples, they let each other have some freedom, and then they come back together even closer." My fork froze mid-air. Freedom, exploration. I stared at her, realizing this wasn't a joke. She was serious. "Are you saying you want to sleep with other people?" I asked, my voice steady but my heart pounding. She sighed and muttered, "Not sleep, just maybe talk, maybe flirt. I don't know, just not feel trapped." That was the first crack, and once it appeared, it spread quickly. I told her firmly I wasn't interested. I believed marriage meant loyalty, through the good and bad. But once that seed was planted in her mind, I saw her change. She started dressing up more often for errands. She guarded her phone like it was a vault. She stayed out late with friends and brushed me off when I asked questions. Then one night, her phone buzzed while she was in the shower. Normally, she never left it unattended. This time she did, and the preview on the screen made my stomach twist. It was a message. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again." My chest tightened. My hands shook. Against my better judgment, I unlocked her phone. What I found shattered me. Dozens of messages, explicit ones, pictures. Her telling this man that she felt alive again. That her therapist was right. That she wished she could spend nights with him instead of me. I put the phone down and sat in silence. She had crossed the line. Slightly open wasn't therapy. It was an excuse for cheating. But I didn't confront her that night. Instead, I planned. Over the next 2 weeks, I quietly gathered evidence. Screenshots of messages, call logs, dates, and times. I even hired a private investigator to confirm what I already knew. The photos came back. Her kissing him outside a hotel, her sneaking into his car. By the time I was ready, I had everything, and more importantly, I had spoken to a lawyer. In my state, infidelity shifts divorce settlements heavily. That meant, if I played this correctly, not only would I expose her betrayal, I would protect myself and our son completely. The confrontation was short, brutal, and unforgettable. I placed the printed texts and photos on the dining table one night after. She came home late. She froze when she saw them. Her face turned pale, then red, then pale again. "It's not what it looks like," she began. I cut her off. "It looks like you cheated. It looks like you took advice from a divorce therapist and used it as an excuse to destroy our marriage. So tell me, what part am I misunderstanding?" She started crying. She begged. She blamed her therapist. She even said, "It was just one time." I slid another photo across the table. Proof of her meeting. Him multiple times. "Don't insult me," I said coldly. "You wanted an open marriage? Congratulations. You've opened the door. Straight to divorce." The days that followed were chaos. She begged me not to file. She swore she loved me, that she'd cut him off, that therapy had confused her. But I didn't waver. The papers were already signed. In court, the truth came out. My lawyer presented the evidence of her affair. The judge didn't look kindly on her excuses. The settlement was clear. I got the house, I got primary custody, and I kept the majority of our assets. She was left with a small apartment and a mountain of regret. As for her therapist, I reported her to the licensing board. Turns out I wasn't the first complaint. A few months later, her license was revoked. Now, my ex-wife lives in a cramped apartment. The affair partner? He left her within weeks. She sometimes texts me saying she doesn't know what she was thinking or that therapy messed with her head. But I don't reply. Because the truth is, therapy didn't ruin my marriage. Cheating did. She chose to cross that line, and once it was crossed, there was no going back. She wanted slightly open. She ended up with permanently closed.